Hello then, ladies and gents. It's been a while since I've been here, I know that. But I'm certainly looking forward to tonight. Really has been a while. I'm in a very good mood, of course. I won't bring any spoils if you haven't yet watched the Formula 1 finale from real life. Definitely do go watch it if you have got a chance to. We will try our best not to reveal anything, but no promises because, well, it was a very happy ending to the race. I was expecting a couple more people tonight. Did say a couple more on the sign-up sheet. Hopefully we can get a couple more maybe before we go. Go racing. Who do we got in the chat? Is it Rick? Thank you. Pleasure to be back. It's been a while. It's been too long. I've missed you a lot. So yeah, looking forward to racing tonight. Zach's really motorsport commentator back. Indeed I am. Oh, do not want to leave. Have I turned everything down? That is a good question. It's been a while. I haven't been on here. There it is. There we go. I haven't. That's the question.
Get away from you. One of them might make a mistake that lets us back in.
I'm not racing, Jeff, but okay. I can't wait. We've lost someone. Someone's gone. Where is it gone? We're now down to 11. We literally just had 12. Just had 12 people. Shouldn't be too long now, ladies and gents. I wouldn't have started it otherwise. Do not like to be sat around waffling on for too long, because there's no action to talk about, so there's no point in starting the stream. I'll just be sat in the lobby. So we won't be waiting too long whatsoever. Still waiting for, I think, one more person. Pommy Alex, I think this is the one we're waiting for. And then we can indeed get started. There we go, here he is. The man, the myth, the legend. To championship. Well, I mean, it's close in the championship. It's pretty much as close as you'd like it. You couldn't get any closer. Physically, couldn't get any closer. And there's still 4 races left to go. 2 rounds, 4 races, because we have both our feature race and our sprint race. Well, I say feature race and reverse race. I haven't really figured out many names for them at the moment. It's been 5 seasons, I haven't found a name to distinguish them. Again, sorry for the hold up, people. Still unsure as to what the delay is. Shouldn't be too much longer. Oh, there we go. We were just waiting for one more, and then we can get ourselves going. Well, well, well. After a historical finish to a historical season of real-life Formula 1, I welcome you back to the virtual world here for the APPF1 Sprint Championship. It's the penultimate round, round number 5 of our 5th season of sprint racing. And my oh my, I tell you, it is incredibly close. Ghost, the reigning 2-time World Sprint Drivers' Champion, trails the young Scottish contender by a mere 0 points. That's right, level pegging for the front two, both at 111 apiece. With only 4 races of the season to go, it's vital that every single race counts in this epic title hunt. What a way we have to continue it forward today. We travel to Italy for both races tonight. First it's Imola, and then it's Monza, 2 of Formula 1's most famous circuits. Imola with its tight and twisty nature, Monza with its pedal to the metal, absolutely Flora attitude. It's a night of 2 extremes, and I certainly cannot wait. I'm of course Zach Sweeney, back finally in the commentary booth after an absence that was way too long. I've missed this, and I hope to be welcome back well tonight. Round 5 of Season 5 is right here. 3 seconds before we load ourselves into a one-shot qualifying to decide the grid order for the main race before we then reverse it for Monza. Those that finish will then be flipped on their head, and well, it is wet for our first qualifying session here. Well, our only qualifying session here, our one-shot qualifying session, is going to be wet, so it means that those that can adapt quickly, those that find grip really quickly, are going to be the ones that favour today, because they haven't got that 18 minutes to qualifying session, that 1 or 2 laps beforehand to acclimatise themselves to the circuit. It's go out there, find some grip, and if it's dry for the race, it's going to be even more of a topsy-turvy qualifying session, because, well, do you go for track position? Do you put a more higher downforce, higher floor to not aquaplane to have more grip in these wet conditions, or do you go for a more dry setup and be quicker through the race? Well, we'll have to find out who does what. We'll go on board with our championship leader, that is Jack Alacco, the Scotsman in the Alpine, a Tier 2 runner last season, and now he's leading the championship in the sprint series. In towards turns number 1 and 2, you're looking for the start of the curb, down a couple of gears, down to 430 he goes even, and you can just see the lack of front grip he's got. Both Alpines, himself and his teammate Sumo, really struggling to get the ball rolling here. Mitch actually leads the way in towards then turns 4 and 5. Just got to chuck it in, keep it to the left so you can really open up that next right-hander, run it in towards the hairpin. Usually braking just before that 50, but you really have to brake a lot earlier. Get the carpet in, you have to make sure that front grips in before you actually try and accelerate out of the corner. Up into P4 for Jack Alacco, so he has recovered it before the end of the second sector. Through that fast left-hander, down the hill towards the fast double right. You've got to chuck it in. Usually you're braking now, and he's braking a long time before. Not risking it at all. Straight line the exit as you head towards the final chicane, all the way to the left-hand side, looking for around about that 50 board. You can usually jump over the curb, a hop, skip, and a jump, but that is not going to be the case. Just trundling his way through, making sure he does not invalidate, because if he invalidates, starts from the back, that could be detrimental for his championship. Now towards the penultimate corner, looking to brake as much in a straight line as he possibly can. Davler and KTFO both out of the session. Hook that inside curb for Jack Alacco, then again chuck it through that penultimate corner. Really gotta just let the car roll through, use that grip, and then tight run through the final run and in towards the line. An absolutely dominant display from Harry Bix there, 5/10 ahead of the Dutchman of Rick, a 1:25.621 for the AlphaTauri, who takes pole position here for their home race in Imola. a 26.165, then a 26.198, then Jackalacco literally only half a tenth back on that. So incredibly close qualifying session despite it being wet, though Harry Bix managing then to take pole position for round number 5. Doesn't award him any points, but it definitely does help in winning this race. 5 tenths clear of Rick, as I said, and it's Harry Bix on pole. The young Dutchman alongside him on the front row. The Williams of Mitch GK in third place, with the championship leader Jackalacco rounding off the second row. Ghost head of the third row in P5 with the American of Blair alongside. Sumo in P7 with MXP8. Tinos in P9, and Pomey Alex rounds off the top 10. Davila, KTFO and Aces all unable to set a time. They'll be starting 11th, 12th and 13th today for what is hopefully to be a dry race. If it's wet, it could be even more interesting. We could have some safety cars, we could have anything really to go our way. Completely and utterly unsure of how that's going to go, and as is the case with the sprint championship, a lot of the time we do never ever know what's going to happen. It is clear skies for the race. I believe it's going to be 18 laps, but I'm not entirely sure. Do not hold me to that. I'm not at all sure on that. Just waiting for everyone to finalise their setups, and then we can get ourselves going. Ready for the formation lap. Should be a stellar race. I really cannot wait to get ourselves going once more. Of course, to the formation lap. A 1 lap sort of tour to warm up those tyres. I believe everyone should have gone for softs. No, in fact, well, most of the grid has gone softs. A couple of them, though, going for the mediums, the yellow stripe medium tyre. That's Sumo, Tinos and Davila going for the alternate strategy. They're going to go long into this race and then pit sort of later on. And then have the lighter car, the softer tyres as well to go with that, which is just going to give them that extra little boost towards the end of the race. Though they just need to make sure they can maximise this first stint on those medium tyres and not to lose too much ground, because it is a sprint. Having that different strategy doesn't often pay off as well as you'd like to think. However, it still can work in your favour. The predicted pit stop strategy is just the conventional soft to medium, though if there is an early safety car, those on the softs could probably go mediums to the end, I would imagine. And if there's a safety car sort of halfway through, those on the mediums are going to be absolutely loving life. So as we saw today, the pendulum can swing both ways, certainly. You're never ever able to get complacent with things. You never ever should get complacent with things. Harry Bix, he's got Rick for company, both of them. Well, I suppose Alfa Romeo is more Swedish because of the Sauber roots, but still an Italian car company. So we've got Italian teams on the front row. So Harry Bick's going to want to impress, so too is Rick. Going to try and do Max Verstappen proud tonight. He's definitely going to be on a charge. He's improved quite a lot. Well, I say that. He's gone for a bit of a trip across the grass. That's not exactly going to be the quickest way around in the race, but it's better to get it over and done with in the formation lap than during the green flag running. Harry Bix then backing up, doing them burnouts. Can't exceed 50 miles an hour on the run to the grid. However, can just do those quick little burnouts, spin those rear tyres and make sure they're up to temperature. Ready for lights out. It's a long run down towards the Tamburello chicane, turns 2 and 3. It's also a very tight one as you run. And I believe pole is on the right hand, it's on the left, so he's going to have the inside. Rick needs an absolutely stellar run. He's 9 metres behind. That's a 9 metre advantage. He's going to have to claw back. Both on equal tyres. He's got Jackalacco, the leader of the championship. 4 and 5 are the front runners. They are very close, both on track and in the championship. All cars then, all 13 of us lined up and ready to go towards the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, the first Italian Grand Prix of the night. 5 red lights are on. Harry Bix on pole. And we're underway in racing. An absolutely stellar start from Rick from P2, but Harry just gets that bite in that second stage, and they all lead down in towards turn number 2 and 3. They're 3 abreast in towards the midfield of the pack. Ghost is trying to funnel his way through. Is he side by side with his championship rival? No, he's side by side with the Haas of RJ Blair as they try and funnel their way through the Tamburello chicane. Jackalacco having an absolutely shocker of a start. Ghost though up 1 place. Harry Bix still leads from Rick, Mitch, Ghost, Blair, your top 5 with MX and Jackalacco 6th and 7th in towards Tosser. MX getting an absolutely poor start. That's a bit of a sideways moment for his teammate Sumo further back, who ends up falling down the order just a little bit there. MX though under an absolute world of pressure from the championship leader in towards the fast left. He's not going to have the run he wants to have a look down the inside, but he just needs to focus. Goes a little bit off the track, and again might just be that championship pressure getting to him just a little bit. Harry Bix though comfortably leads the way, 8/10 clear of the young Dutchman. Mitch just behind him, P3. We know how quick Mitch can be. And that first lap probably was crucial and set the tone for the rest of this race, because Jackalacco really is struggling. You can see exceeding the track limits there at that final chicane, which definitely was not going to be helping him by any means, any stretch of the imagination. We know how powerful the DRS here is at Imola, that drag reduction system helping him along the way. Rick somehow sets the fastest lap of this race. Did Harry Bix get a penalty? No, he didn't. I was going to say. He's left the session though, which is going to inherit, well, it's going to allow Rick to get himself into the lead. He's been absolutely gifted this one. Has the Dutchman in the Alfa Romeo. Saws his way into the lead of the race. So too does Mitch. That's going to give an extra point to Ghost as well, as he gets himself onto the podium from P5 on the grid. Not a bad start from him then, in only a couple of laps. Harry Bix tumbling down the order. Hopefully he can get himself back in as soon as possible, but that means that Harry Bix, without his dominant form, now leaves the 2 contenders for the race lead, Rick and Mitch, both fighting for it. And of course with DRS enabled, next lap they're going to have that benefit. Mitch is going to be absolutely flying down that back straight in a pursuit. And you can just see Harry Bix here nearly already at the back of the grid, which is such a shame. He was so quick and definitely could have had a run at the race win tonight. However, that's how it goes sometimes. As I said before, the pendulum can swing either way. It can go your way, and it sometimes won't go your way. And that is just the harsh world of motorsport that we live in. You love the sport, but sometimes it really just doesn't love you back. Rick setting the fastest lap then on 1:17.026, leads the way. DRS though is enabled on this lap. Pommy Alex not going to get the benefit on it on his pursuit of Tinos in towards the Tamburello chicane. Turns 2 and 3, not quite going to be close enough on this particular run. But again, just needs to maximise that. Sumo finally getting himself past by Harry Bix, and KTFO, again the other AlphaTauri, both out of the lobby. Out of the session, they're still driving around and can get themselves back in. They can reconnect and then take control of their car, but it's going to be very difficult to claw back the time that they've lost. You can see KTFO already 13 seconds adrift. Harry Bix, he's got 2.5 seconds to Sumo, then an entire field to get through. That's if he gets back in right now, which is very unlikely to do so. Big gap starting to form. Jackalacco unable to really keep the pace with the top 5. MX slowly pulling away from him. 1.3 seconds is the gap. The top 3 all within DRS range of each other. Rick trying to change that, has exceeded the 1 second. Sort of topsy-turvy in with that 9.5 to 1 second range. He's just got to maximise it. You can see using his ERS. He's used a lot at VRS. Ghost though, in his fashion. I haven't been here for a while, but I can always remember Ghost. He's got a 10 out of 10 racecraft for a reason. 70% ERS compared to the 17 and 36 to Rick and Mitch. He has got the DRS. He is closing at a rate of knots. Is it enough for a run in towards the Tamburello chicane? He's got absolutely nothing left in the battery. Rick going defensive. The Williams goes to the right-hand side. Not enough. Has to take to the grass. But you can now see he's practically pushing him through. Rick definitely going to be starting feeling the pressure as they run down towards Villeneuve. Having to defend, weaving around, breaking that slipstream. But unfortunately, it was all in vain for Mitch. A valiant effort as they head towards Tosser. Mitch, a 3-second time penalty as well, just to top it off. Just exceeding the track a little bit too much. MX also under pressure from the American of Blair. KTFO back in the lobby. Is Harry Bix? That is the question. Pommy Alex, Aces, and Tinos all locked in this train, as well as Dava. 4-car train for P7 here. But we have to cut our attention back to the front because anything can happen. Rick very uncomfortably leading this race. He's definitely going to want to do it. So is Mitch, so is Ghost. It's important for his championship because at the moment he's extending 1, 2, 3 points over Jackalacco, which in a season this close, 3 points, absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. that we've seen this year in real life Formula 1. Yellow flags through sector 3. Is that Sumo? No, it's Aces going round. Bit of a kerfuffle maybe with the Alpine or Sumo, I believe so. Here we have got Mitch locked tightly in DRS with Rick. He's slightly closer this time than he was before. Not got a lot of ERS in the battery in order to contend with, though. Ghost sets the fastest lap, a 1:16.925. No move's going to be made on this particular run. But MX, though, under a world of pressure from Blair, who goes to the right-hand side. It's a long way around. How late can he brake? Not quite late enough in order to get himself inside the top 4. Tinos and Pomme Alex going side by side. The Aston Martin getting himself ahead. A spinner of Sumo getting overtaken by Aces, and a spinner of KTFO. I do stand corrected. Unfortunately, AlphaTauri not having their day today. Took pole position in the form of Harry Bix, though haven't been able to carry that form forward through no fault of their own so far in this race. But it's definitely given us a close run. We've got Mitch and Rick going at it, as well as Ghost in there in the mix, just waiting for these two to tire each other out, make sure their tyres are lovely and worn, and he's going to like them vulnerable. He's got that 65% ERS, that extra 160 brake horsepower in the battery left to use at his disposal. Yellow flags again. That's KTFO going off once more in his AlphaTauri, pushing a little bit too hard. Those tyres are going to be cooked, and that's just going to be a negative feedback loop. More spins, more heat equals more spins as they go through. Ravazzo chucking it through third gear, just needs to maximise that exit. Ghost really poor through that final couple of corners, actually. That might have cost him in qualifying. Here's Mitch, though, trying his hand at the race lead. He's got the DRS. He's trying and trying and trying, nearly at 200 miles an hour, even at a tight and twisty circuit like Imola. He's not got long to get up to that speed, but he certainly does with the help of DRS. Unfortunately, not going to be to any avail this time around. RJ Blair trying again on MX, just not enough this time around either. Tinos, he's now got the McLaren of Davila in his mirrors, practically pushing him through the Tamburello in towards Villeneuve. Has Davila got a run? He certainly has. Side by side with the Williams in towards Villeneuve. He's going to get himself ahead. It's a bold move to make, but he certainly did it. RJ Blair and MX going side by side through Tosser. MX, though, managing to hang on around the outside. Very nice stuff from the reigning Tier 1 champion. And third in the championship as well in this sprint. Definitely no mean slouch. And he's running comfortably inside the top 4 as well. But he has got RJ Blair and Jack Alaco being brought right back into the mix. He's going to try and minimise the damage if he can. And just look how much Ghost is close up through that middle sector in the Aston Martin. 3/10 now separate himself from Mitch. Mitch losing touch to Rick. If Mitch loses that DRS, he's going to be lovely and vulnerable for the Aston Martin. Ghost loves to pick his way through. He's patient. He's not aggressive. He knows when to go for the moves, when not to go for the moves. That's definitely going to help him as KTFO retires from the session. Could that be an on-course safety car? Ghost dives into the pit lane as to see that yellow flag, hoping maybe for a safety car. So too does MX and Blair. Is it a safety car? I don't think it is. Maybe it's just their pit window, but he saw the spin. He saw the opportunity to at least try, and if there was, he was going to gain quite a significant amount from it. And because of that, himself, Blair, MX, and Jack Alaco as well dive into the pit lane for medium compound tyres. This is going to be a very, very crucial lap. He needs to gain 1 second on Rick. Both of these guys need to give their absolute all on this end lap. Hopefully those soft tyres have got it in them to at least last a little bit. But yeah, that was very quick thinking from Ghost. Saw the spinning car, saw the yellow flag, saw it was crashed, and just darted into the pit lane. He knew he probably could have gotten past Mitch on track if he did that. But the hopes of a safety car, the hope for an on-track and the hope of getting a free pit stop essentially relative to everyone else heavily outweighed the chance of actually getting through. So he's playing the strategy game. Bit of a sideways moment for Pomme Alex, well held in the Aston Martin. Both of them driving pretty well, it must be said. Pomme Alex probably in a net P7 or P8, I believe. TTV Max has decided to join us. He'll be in for the reverse grid race. Pomme Alex, though, second driver to get himself a 3-second time penalty. That's for multiple warnings. Rick, though, the race leader, into the pit lane. Mitch also follows him in. Is Davila going to stay out and take the lead? He probably could go to softs to the end here, which could be interesting because he is right in the mix. Indeed he is. He peels in when the soft tyres come in. He's going to be very, very fast to the end of this race. Tinos as well, staying out for the medium tyres. And Pomme Alex also staying out. So interesting strategy from him. Where is Ghost, though? He's now coming through the final corner. He's now exiting and onto the pit straight. He's going to get himself ahead. Where are Mitch and Rick? They're now leaving the pit lane. They're going to deactivate their pit limit. He's gotten Mitch. He's going to have a run at Rick, though. It's going to be very fast in towards the Tamburello chicane. Rick has luckily managed to avoid the undercut, but that was very close, and Mitch has fallen susceptible to it. Great outlap from Ghost. Great inlap from Rick in order to maintain that position. Now, the crucial part is, can he hold Ghost off? They're pretty much equal in terms of ERS, 10% in Ghost's favour. and Rick needs to get those tyres warmed up. He needs to spin them up. He needs to whatever it is. As MX and Blair once again going side by side through Tossa. They're going to be running up the hill towards the quick left-hander before the next chicane. But unfortunately, Blair unable to convert. He probably needs to try something different. Force a mistake somewhere else. As Ghost, in fact, gets a 3-second time penalty. So now he's level pegging with Mitch. And both of these guys need to work incredibly hard in order to stay in contention. Never lost it. As Ghost 56% trying his hardest, and it's just made his life even easier. It's going to be that ball and chain dragging him back, as is the case with Mitch as well, whose teammate Tinos is into the pit lane. Aces once again stays out, hoping maybe for a safety car. It could be the case. Ghost with a world of ERS in the battery. DRS as well. We know how strong it is here at Imola. Has he got the overwhelming pace in order to close that gap? He hasn't. He's not going to waste it. But just look at it. He's closing. He's closing. Rick is under a world of pressure. Here comes Ghost to the right-hand side. It's going to be the long way around. How late can he break? It's late enough. Into the race lead goes the Aston Martin. He's going to retake the championship lead. But Rick is not going to give that up easy. You can see Mitch also trying to get into the mix in towards Villeneuve. Rick practically pushing Ghost as they go in to the left, in towards the right. Mitch going to try and maximise that exit. Just can't that dirty. Yeah, that turbulent air. Unable to do it. He's going to launch it to the inside, is he? Rick gives him the space. One of the only Dutchmen in order to do so. But Mitch, giving it his everything. He just needed to follow Ghost through there. Needed to seize that opportunity, but just couldn't quite do it. Great camera angle as they go through the fast double left-hander there. But yeah, Ghost now 6 tenths ahead of Rick. Fighting over a net P1. Rick needs to stay within that 1 second as they go in towards this chicane. Chuck it through, leaving the track a little bit. Hopefully that won't give him that 3 seconds. That is the crucial thing, to stay within 3 seconds. MX and Blair's managed to get his way through. Good stuff. As Harry Bix has managed to get his way into the race, I think, again, or is that his AI pitting? But nonetheless, Rick very close to Ghost as they go through Ravazza and on to the pit straight. DRS open. He's not even going to use his ERS. In fact, he's going to do it just for a bit of a easier time. Closing, 195. Ghost defends it. Is it all in vain? Pretty much it is, because the Alfa Romeo could just look to his left and wave him goodbye as they go side by side in towards the Tamburello. Is Ghost going to break late enough? No, he's not. And Rick retakes the race lead. Just a mere lap later. It's going to be a battle, a very hard-fought battle from all three drivers. Lap 10 of 16, 7 laps left in the first Italian Grand Prix of 2. Bit of a awkward mistake for Mitch, just chucked in a little bit too much, lost the rear end, had to correct it, and that just killed his momentum. It's all about momentum here, and as soon as you kill that rhythm, you just find yourself having to regain it, and then by then you've lost too much time. Luckily for Mitch, that wasn't too bad, as Ghost actually makes a mistake himself. A very uncharacteristic mistake for the two-time sprint champion to make. But as they head towards the Variante Alta Giacalaco, the championship leader going into this race won't be by around about 4 points coming out of it. Gets himself a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, which is unfortunate. Race control have given Aces a 3-second time penalty as well. So it seems around this point of the race is where people seem to make those mistakes. Is it the fatigue? Is it the mental strain of driving such a difficult circuit that's doing it to him? We never know. Aces finally into the pit lane, which means Rick, Ghost and Mitch are finally going to re-inherit those P1, 2 and 3. Mitch closing at a rate of knots on Ghost though. Is it going to be enough in towards the Tamburello? Ghost has the DRS to defend with, and I think it's going to be enough. He's actually going to launch an attack on the Alfa Romeo, looking to the outside, but Rick passed that car absolutely beautifully, and Ghost is absolutely sideways. How on earth has he managed to save that? I do not know. But yeah, a very, very good save indeed. Reminded me of the one Wumax made through Magnussen Beckett's. That was absolutely incredible. But Ghost, yeah, managing to keep himself in this fight. Lap 11 of 16. Rick just needs to make sure he does not crumble under this pressure. Yellow flags through the first sector. That's Aces on leaving the pit lane. Has had a spin at the Tamburello chicane, which is not going to be helping his run at all. RJ Blair and MX still going at it as they go in towards the next chicane. Still fighting over P4, probably a similar story to the leaders. One goes in front, the other, he can't break that 1 second barrier, and then the other one comes straight back at him down the pit straight on the following lap. Rick, Ghost and Mitch locked in this fight for 1, 2 and 3, 2 of which have a 3-second time penalty. If Rick can just maintain that and not find himself susceptible to that same mistake, similar to what Blair has just done, he could be in a world of good. 33% for Ghost as he has to defend his position. He's looking both forwards and backwards. That is the pain of being in second in a three-car train. 5 laps left of this race and no action on this particular run in towards the Tamburello chicane. Mitch too far back on Ghost. Ghost too far back on Rick. None of them willing to use that ERS. They need to save it. Is Ghost waiting for that last lap charge? Here's Blair on MX, both of which running low on ERS. MX more so than Blair. Zoom on the back of Pommy Alex. Just look at that closing speed. You can just see the relative speed that Alpine has. Going to the right hand side. Is he going to go the long way around? Is Pommy Alex going to concede? Of course he's not. They're going to run side by side though. Sumo on that softer tyre goes all the way around the outside as Tinos, you can see, has binned it in the gravel. Managed to get it outside of the gravel and won't be retiring from the session, but still an unfortunate mistake. Promoting both Sumo and Pommy Alex into 8th and 9th. But yeah, great move from Sumo. Just to dance the long way around, use that soft tyre grip, trail in with the brake. Nice stuff, certainly. But yeah, Rick leaving the track. Luckily, won't be picking himself up a 3-second time penalty for that one. It would be absolutely detrimental and bring both Ghost and Mitch right back into contention in this race. They are very much in contention. It would just make their life a little bit more easy if they didn't have to get through and then extend a 3-second gap. The Aston Martin of Pommy Alex has spun off the exit of that second chicane. Rick very susceptible to an attack. You can see already going half defensive. Ghost trying to find the inside, has to go to the outside. He's got the speed. Is it enough to overtake before the corner? Indeed it is. Rick having to tuck back into the slipstream and Ghost retakes the lead. Can he extend that gap out of sight of 1 second? I think if as soon as he gets outside of 1 second he should be okay. Blair gets himself into 4th. Jackalacco still in the wing, still spectating this fight. Needs to find a way through pretty darn quickly though. He's running out of time as the laps tick down. Only 4 left. Through Villeneuve in towards Tossa. Or Tosa. I think Tossa is definitely the more British pronunciation there. Sounds a lot funnier. Tinos and Pommy Alex both into the pit lane, probably to repair some wing damage. Luckily no safety car. You can see Rick having to go off the track, dancing his way back on. As the car got a little bit shaky over the sausage curbs there, and even as he went through the chicane he just sort of twitched over the curb and just, well, way too much clip angle on that car. He's now dropped outside of that 1 second range, and as I said, once Ghost is free, once he's outside of that 1 second range, outside of that virtual tow hook that is the DRS system, he's going to absolutely fly. So Rick needs to give it absolutely everything. Make sure he doesn't battle too hard with Mitch and lose that 3 seconds, though Mitch is going to try his best in order to get back through and fight for P2 as he's very much entitled to do so. Rick, susceptible, vulnerable to an attack from the Williams. Is it going to be late enough on the brakes? Rick goes defensive. There's contact between the two. The Williams having to avoid to the gravel cutting across turn 2. Yeah, that was a bit sketchy. Very, very interesting mistake to make. Whether that was braking too late, Rick sort of went defensive, but not really committing to it. Just sort of moved to the left just a tad. Blair still trying to find a way through on MX, and again that third car really struggling to find a way through. Both Mitch and Jackalacco just unable to get a way through on second in their respective fights, both for 4th and for 1st, which is strange. 2.5 laps left to go. Jacko giving it everything. Ghost already 1.5 seconds. Once he's clear, he's absolutely gone. He's monstrous once you get him in his own free space. Even in a battle, even locked closely in contention, it's a stellar battle. And I think this fight for the race lead is really dissipated in the last lap. Ghost seems to be running away with it, but Rick keeping him honest, clawing that time back bit by bit as we go on to the penultimate lap, lap 15 of 16. He needs 7.5 tenths per lap, does Ghost, in order to win this race. Can he do it? It's a race against time between himself and the Dutchman. As we go, the fight for P5 between Blair and Jackalacco onto this pit straight. Even though Blair's got that DRS, here comes Jackalacco, the previous championship leader, in towards the inside. He's got his nose in. He needs to brake incredibly late. MX also vulnerable. Blair brakes even later, soars round the outside to even take the race line. Jackalacco with more to lose than Blair in terms of the championship. Just thought he'd back out of that one and live to fight another day. Blair darting to the inside for Villeneuve as well. That was a very sketchy move. Just trying to scare MX more than anything, really. Wasn't really actually going for that move. More just to see if he could put MX off his line. Blair getting all sorts of shaky out of Tosa. Jackalacco trying his best to find a way through, but again, you just run out of straight before you hit the next corner. Anywhere but the pit straight. And unfortunately, Jackalacco is going to have to try and find a way through on the final lap. He has got that 3 second time limit to contend with. 1.2 seconds Ghost needs to catch on Rick, as Tinos actually sets the fast lap of the race, a 16.264. Not a bad effort whatsoever on those fresh softs for the Williams. 1.7 is the gap at the front between Ghost and Rick. I think this should go Rick's way. unless he makes an absolutely catastrophic mistake. On to the final lap then. The first of 2 races tonight. It's been a good fight at the front. Hopefully we can have more of the same at Monza. Giacomo, though, his final effort arguably to get past Blair. Blair, his final effort arguably to get past MX. And just look at that closing speed. MX being vulnerable all race long. Goes defensive to Haas to the outside. How late can he brake? It's late enough. It's into P4. Great stuff. As Giacomo still unable to find a way through on MX as well. But MX, really, you can see that blinking red light. He's got nothing in the battery. He's completely vulnerable. You can see Giacomo just trying to set up that exit. Davler on those softs, charging towards these guys as well. Couple more laps, probably could have been right in the mix. But MX hasn't got an answer to Blair, nor Giacomo's pace. Through the left, both the Alpine and the Alfa Romeo. You can see Blair actually isn't too far off Mitch. Could Blair get a podium? Mitch really fallen off. He's had a spin. Something's happened to him. 7/10 between Rick and Ghost as they go towards the final corner. But Blair and Mitch, could Blair get himself a podium? Actually, MX is going to get himself a podium because of time penalties as the championship leader, newly crowned, comes across the line, taps the wall for his troubles, wins on track. Though Rick, because of time penalties, takes the win of the first Italian Grand Prix from second to first. Not a bad race at all. Mitch DK on a run to the line between himself, Blair and MX. Giacomo as well, nearly going to get it, but after time penalties it's going to be MX, Davler, Mitch, Blair and Giacomo. P3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then Sumo a few seconds later just to complete it off in P8. And then moments later, Aces had a really forgettable race tonight. Is going to come home P9, Tinos P10 with Pomay Alex P11. Harry Bix really had a race to forget for him. He hasn't even been here. He's been in air for the entire race. Lewis, shush. Through the penultimate corner for Pomay Alex then, as he chucks it through. Tinners got a 5-second time penalty for unserved penalty, so that probably was a pit speed violation, I'm going to assume, because there was no safety car for him to make contact under. But a very good race for the first of 2 tonight. That is to be expected here at Imola. You're not going to have crazy side-by-side action. You shouldn't expect crazy side-by-side action, but you can still expect a damn good fight, and that's what we saw for the race lead. Rick managing to hang on within those 3 seconds in order to claim it P1 and taking a very deserved podium, it must be said. On top, it is Rick then. P1 with Ghost. P2 claiming himself top of the standings with 3 races left of the season. Incredibly close pace from the top 3. Ghost just getting the fastest lap of the top 4. You can just see, well, even the top 5 all within a 10th and a half of each other. But yeah, very good pace. Ghost P2, MX rounds off the podium. Danville at P4 with Mitch P5. A race to forget for him. Could have been a race win, but instead P5 after a couple of mistakes. Blair P6 with Giacomo falling back in the championship. Still got 3 races in order to claw it back. Still only a good 5 points between them. That's absolutely nothing. Sumo P8 with Aces P9. Tinos rounds off the top 10. Will find himself getting another point for that fastest lap at 16.264. Pomay Alex P11 with Harry Bix P12. Won't be scoring any points as he didn't complete 75% of the race distance himself. And KTFO, the lone DNF, a race to forget for the Alpha Tauris. But Harry Bix, if he can get himself back in, will start pole, I believe, for the second Italian Grand Prix of the night. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gents, because we've got one more race. The reverse grid race will be won in order to remember, because, well, we always have action in the reverse grid races. We will have action in the feature races, but it's just even more exaggerated. And we'll go for lights out for a second time. Just give us 5 minutes or so to sort out the grid, and will not be too long. Go get yourself a cup of tea, whatever it might be, and we'll see you very shortly. well, we return then very shortly. 7 seconds until we load ourselves in to the second Italian Grand Prix, this time at the circuit, the Monza. An incredible circuit, very fast, 70% of the lap taken at full throttle. Even those that aren't taken at full throttle, taken very close to full throttle. Long straights, heavy braking zones. And we go for lights out for the second time. This time is going to be reversed. It's going to be interesting to see the front lot carve their way through the field, as they always do. Ghost, in particular, is one that is known for his spectacular race twos. Look out for him, as well as Rick, starting right at the back of the grid. He's got 12 cars to get through if he wants to get to the front of the field. Not very often do we see a double race win. It is possible, we've seen it before, though it isn't very often. Can Rick do it? Monza going to be probably one of the easiest tracks, or one of the best tracks to do so. The thing is though, you do not want to get caught in that DRS train. Absolutely lethal things those are. Similar to Imola, where you're that third car in the train, third, fourth car, and you just can't find a way through because the car in front has the DRS and the slipstream of the leading car in the train, and you just can't find a way through. You can't get that overspeed in order to close the gap, and then even in the midfield section, that turbulent air, that dirty air, really holding you back and pushing you back, and you can't find a way forward. But speed and slipstream, the recipe for a good race here at Monza. We go for the formation lap then. It's an Aston Martin. I believe it's going to be Pommy Alex leading the way. 12 cars on the grid. We've lost the two Alpha Tauris, which is unfortunate. The Pommy Alex then going to lead us round in the Aston Martin. Tinos in P2. Aces third with Sumo fourth. Jack Alaco looking to claw back some points in the championship after coming into this round at tied. Starts fifth. RJ Blair P6. Dead smack. Dead centre of the pack with Mitch P7. Dabbler P8 after a stellar P4 in the previous race. MX P9 with Ghost in 10th. Rick in P11 and Max in P12, of course unable to participate in the first race. Joins us for the second, and it wouldn't be particularly fair to see him at the front of this race, as he did not compete in the previous one. 13 laps then of the Monza circuit. 25% race distance for our second race of the evening. Certainly cannot wait to see what Ghost, Rick, MX can do, as well as Jack Alaco. Is there going to be any team play down at Alpine? Of course, we see Red Bull have a very, very strong team chemistry between Max and Checo. Is it going to be any similar story between Sumo and Jack Alaco? I know they're good mates. They work well. They've definitely got that chemistry. But is Sumo going to be racing for his own tonight? Is he going to want to chase after that podium? Is he going to want to allow Jack Alaco to fight for that championship with only 3 races to go? Is Sumo going to say, well, I'm not really in this one, you need some points back, and every little point counts in the grand scheme of things. You cannot afford to lose anything, especially in such a close point system and such a short season. Every point counts for a higher percentage of the total points. Moving around then, let's have a look at the tyres. Everyone gone for softs, bar 4, which is Tinos, Aces, Dabbler and Ghost going for the mediums. He says, well, I'm in the same traffic as you, we've both got to get through it. I'm just going to take the penalty of a slower tyre this time, as opposed to later in the race, then I'm going to have the faster tyre. Though himself and Rick, after a very, very clean battle in the previous race, find themselves disqualifying each other on the formation lap. They're going to be starting on some very cold tyres. Which could be a blessing in disguise, actually, if they lose time off the start, because that turn 1, the Retfilo chicane on lap 1 is very, very sketchy. As you've got, well, it's going to be 12 cars darting towards it at 200 miles an hour, slamming on the brakes for one of the tightest corners on the calendar, probably bar the Monaco hairpin. So you've got to be careful, you've got to be on your toes. It's a long run down to the first chicane as well, probably a good 500, 600 metres or so. Tinos, Pommy Alex on the front row. This is P3. Sumo P4, we got ourselves ready then for the 5 red lights for the second Italian Grand Prix of the night. 5 red lights are on, the cars are revving up. The Italian Grand Prix Part 2, the reverse grid sprint race is underway. A pretty good start from pole position for Pomi Alex. Tinos getting a bit of wheel spin, bogging down a little bit, so that's going to allow Aces to get ahead. They're going to be 3 abreast with Sumo darting to the inside. Blair as well trying to find a way through as they go under brakes. Pomi Alex leads from Aces, then he's going to dart around the outside, side by side with the Alpine of Sumo. He goes over the sausage curve, similar to Max Verstappen. Sumo being pushed off. Blair darts his way through. Is he going to get himself from 5th up into P2 already, dying to the inside of Curva Grande? Aces giving him just enough space to try and squeeze his way through. Further back, we got a bit of carnage as Mitch tries to get his way up the field. TTV Max up 4 places, so too is MX as they go towards the Della Rosa for the first time under brakes. Sumo losing that place to the Alfa Romeo. Great start then from MX. Rick and a Ghost saying station. Ghost darting to the inside of the Lesmos. Mitch going for it on TTV Max, but unfortunately can't compete. Blair side by side in towards the second Lesmo. That's not somewhere you often get a move done, but he's done it. Aces keeps him honest around the outside. Those medium tyres not going to be helping him as they dart down the old straight under the banking towards the Ascari chicane, and Aces just about edges his way in front as the Alpine of Sumo having to go around the outside of Ascari. That's always not going to work. MX gives them just enough room, though through Ascari you cannot expect to be given much as they go flying off. That is a front wing, that is a Williams going off. That might be Tinos. In fact, he is trying to keep his foot in. They're 3 abreast in towards the old Parabolica curve. Jackalacco following in his teammate through that. Williams is going to be losing a lot of aerodynamic downforce. Sumo stays in front. Who was that front wing? It was Jackalacco's. He's lost a lot of downforce there. He's going to have to peel his way into the pit lane, and that is going to be absolutely detrimental for his championship. Tinos, though, side by side with MX for P4. Under brakes is the long way around for the Rettifilo. MX brakes very late, manages to stay in front, and Tinos has to just tuck in behind and try and go again. Here's Bless, still on the back of Aces. They're losing touch to Pomi Alex in front, still 9/10, still within the DRS range for next lap, but they do not want to be fighting any harder than this. Jackalacco, MX, or TTV Max, I should say. Pomi Alex goes to space as he jumps over the Sushi Cup. That's going to invite Aces to maybe have a look for the race lead as they go side by side towards the first of the 2 Lesmos. Pomi Alex on the outside. Aces takes the lead, forces Pomi Alex to concede. Blair going for the move on Pomi Alex as well around the outside of the second Lesmo. Surely not. Goes on to the gravel. Bit of contact as he goes sideways. MX then darting through to avoid him. That is a very shaky Sumo as well. Suddenly managing to catch that as he went round on him a good 2, 3, 4 times as Tinos gets his way through on Blair. Pomi Alex leads then. Pomi Alex trails Aces, who leads. Tinos getting all sorts of wrong through the Ascari chicane. Blair having to dart out of the way, nearly losing the car as he claims that position finally. Goes on the back of Sumo, who was compromised, squeezing his way past on the outside as they go towards Alboreto. Rick watching in the background around the outside. Could be the favoured line if he wants it, as the Williams in front of him having to go slightly off the track as well. I did say these reverse grid sprint races were absolute carnage. Here goes the move for the race lead. Pomi Alex in the slipstream goes to the left hand side. Ace is going to give him the squeeze as he wants to open up this corner. The Rettifilo chicane, DRS enabled. Who's going to be later under brakes? It's going to be Aces who claims the corner. Bit of contact. Pomi Alex is forced off. He goes over the curb. There's contact. MX inherits the race lead. Great opportunistic racing from him as Pomi Alex was forced onto the sausage curb, bounced over it. No control once that front end lifts up. And Aces, in doing so, being very aggressive to defend that position, fairly so, has cost himself, a place to MX. But he kept Pomi Alex at bay. At least Sumo going around the outside of RJ Blair, or Tinos I should say, at the Della Rosa chicane. Pretty good move indeed. Tinos trying to give him a fight, but again, not really the most orthodox move in the world. DRS is enabled. That drag reduction system should be helping them on their troubles. Ghost, though, unable really to make any progress. MX up 8 places. He's the master of carving his way through these fields. The Pomi Alex may be suffering a bit of wing damage. Is he? Doesn't look like it. Very bendy front wing as Mitch into the barrier. Huge crash at the Ascari chicane. Darts his way across the track. That was a mistake you could see coming from a mile off. A VSC in order. 40% race speed delta. Who's going to come into the pit lane? Surely you've got to. It's 40%. It's probably a good 7 seconds taken off your total pit stop time here at Monza. Yeah, it's a free pit stop. They're coming in. Ace is in as well. Even on the mediums, he's going to go soft to the end. Should have a massive advantage, though. Blair stays out. He's going to take the lead of this race. So too is Tinos. It goes in. Jackalacco, is he going to come in? Yeah, that was a huge crash from Mitch. Just lost the rear end. It just went backwards on him. And once it's at that point of no return, especially at a corner like Ascari, there is no saving it. No matter how good you are. Doesn't even matter if you're Carlos Sainz Sr., that you are not saving that car. Goes saving, waiting a while to change his tyres. Maybe he had a 5-second penalty to serve. Not entirely sure. But the VSC is out. yeah, unfortunate for Mitch. As Jack also comes in to the pit lane for his second stop. Really hasn't had a good day as the previous championship leader. Ghost going to try and extend that lead as much as he can. He needs to get through a lot of traffic if he wants to extend it even more. As we go back green once more, RJ Blair leading fairly comfortably over Tinos, MX and Aces, separated by not a lot. Aces though is going to be advantaged. He's got those soft tyres for the remainder of this stint. As that car gets lighter and lighter, he too is going to get faster and faster. Less strain on those tyres means they're going to wear off slightly less. So he's going to retain that difference in tyre grip to himself and MX. DRS gets enabled straight away, thankfully, with the VSC. This is the fight for the net race lead, remember, between MX and Aces. Both of which really trying their hardest. This is Ghost also on the back of Max. Soft versus medium shouldn't be too hard fought of a battle, but we know how good at defending Max is. MX already using that ERS to keep Aces at bay. Aces is chilling. He knows he's got the speed. Ghost already gets the move done down and towards the Alberto curve, and Davila is going to say thank you very much and try and get a compromised youngster as well. To the right hand side, has he got the move done? Max going to defend. Davila trying to find the space. Goes off the track. Finds it though. Gets given it. Max and Davila now going to run side by side. The Red Bull versus McLaren as they go towards the Retfield chicane. Is Davila going to launch a move maybe on the Aston Martin, or is he going to focus on the Red Bull first? Max around the outside. Beautiful stuff. Nearly making a bit of contact between the two. He gets a bit squirrely though. That's going to invite Davila to go back at him side by side. This is a great fight. Shame it's only for 9th. Davila gets himself back ahead. Beautiful bit of racing between the two. Max is not done though. You might want to come back towards the Dale Roger chicane. Is he close enough to the left? Brakes late as he dares, but not quite late enough as he hops over the sausage curb. Finds himself taking a trip over the gravel and spins and into the barrier, and he's out of this race. Actually, a very slow hit, but a very crucial one indeed. The fact is, Blair has played this to absolute perfection here. He's going to come in. Is it going to be a free pit stop though? Is 15 seconds enough? He gets a 5-second penalty. Blair, you ruined it for yourself. Tinos could well and truly take a provisional race lead. Aces and MX, of course, both of them have already come into the pit lane. Is MX going to go for softs? That risk, staying out under the VSC, has paid off 2 laps later. But where are they? Blair's coming out. They're coming through. Aces just about manages to re-inherit the race lead from himself and MX. Strange though, because Aces did overtake MX. Maybe MX was going too slow, and Aces managed to get away through. Perhaps, I'm not entirely sure, but gets himself into the race lead. Nonetheless, Blair manages to get himself into P3. Sumo as well. Ghost already on the softs. He's going to be bunched right back up to the pack, and so too for Jack Blacko, who surely should just come into the pit lane. Yeah, fresh softs. Glitch your way through, try and mitigate the damage, because your championship rival isn't that far away. If you can claw back some points from the first race, only 5, you should be a-okay. Just makes your life a lot easier come that final round in a week's time for the 19th of December. Lap 6 of 13, not even halfway through this race just yet. And still a lot of action to unpack, still a lot more action to come as well. But MX... Aces could be looking very good here. We know how good he is once it's his day. Once he's out in front, once he's doing his thing, he knows what to do. He's an incredibly quick driver, but unfortunately, I don't think he's really got that consistency over the course of a season in order to really fight for a championship. He's definitely got the pace to, but just that consistency. And when it's his day, very similar, I suppose, to compare it to Bottas. On his day, absolutely incredible. It's just how often that day comes. That is the question, where you've got the likes of Ghost and people like that who are constantly on their game. Even if it's not particularly their day, they can still deliver decent results in order to be a contender. But yeah, thank you to those 6 people watching. Pleasure to have you tuning in to the stream. It has been a while since I've been here, so far so good in terms of a return. One more lap under the safety car, and then I think we should be going green, because everyone bar Jackalacco is here, and he's not that far behind. So Aces will lead them round. The thing is though, the timer comes up on you very quickly, and it's a long run towards that first corner off the safety car restart. So you've got to be on it. Davila though coming in for a fresh set of softs. And is that a wing change? No, just a fresh set. So he's going to lose a place on track, putting only one car between Jackalacco and Ghost. That's going to be an interesting battle between the two, in order to truly try and fight for it. So yeah, under the safety car, 8 people now watching you. Tune in for the final half of the final race. Aces leads, MX second, the 2 championship protagonists. In fact, no, I don't think MX will be gaining enough of this race, but definitely going to be a big indent, because the gap was only, I think, about 15 points, if I'm not wrong. So he could find himself in contention, an outside shot of the title next week, if he continues this form and Ghost and Jackalacco stay back there. Just goes to show how close the fight is. Safety car should be in this lap. Aces and MX are going to try and do their utmost in order to retain their positions. MX is going to try and do his utmost to gain a position. But off a safety car restart, it's easy to gain, it's just as easy to lose. Aces controls the field, here comes the effective safety car. Weaving around left to right, backing up the grid, so then he's got full jurisdiction as to when he can punch it. What he can't do is he can't go and then stop. That's going to cause a whole lot of mayhem and cause a lot of cars to crash out. Lap 7 of 13, going on 8. There'll be 6 laps left of the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. When we go green once more, you can see Ace is weaving around. When is he going to punch it? He does not want to be slipstreamed by MX coming off this final corner in towards that first chicane, and he's gone for it. Absolutely nailed that restart. So has Blair. He's already getting ahead of MX. Can't overtake him until the track goes green, but he's in there and he's definitely going to try and pile on that pressure. Both using their ERS. Tinos trying to get past Rick, who gets a stellar restart as well. He's under pressure from the Williams using his ERS. Ghost getting past his teammate. Jackalacco not quite there as they all funnel their way through in towards the right video chicane. Tinos on the inside of Rick. Ghost going to try and follow Rick through. Space opens up on the inside. Jackalacco follows his title rival through. So too does Davila. Pomialik's been absolutely mugged off that restart. Tinos going the long way round of Curva Grande, going to be the inside of the De La Rocha chicane, though Rick covers him off, having to go defensive to the left hand side. The Williams goes to the right. Is it late enough under brakes to saw all the way around the outside? The Alpha gives him the room over the sausage curb. Great racing between these two. Rick stays ahead for the time being. This is inviting Ghost and Jackalacco into the fight, and up the inside goes Tinos. Rick once again goes around the outside, says no you do not. Is Tinos ahead in towards the second Lesmo? Rick's going to try it again. They're still side by side, the two racers down in towards and under the old banking. Ghost now going to get himself involved, going to try and follow Rick through. Tinos giving them a squeeze, 3 abreast in towards the Ascari chicane. Surely not. Tinos up the inside. Rick goes around the outside off the track. Is Tinos going to inherit this? Rick slow, has to back off. Jackalacco, is he going to benefit off this? Goes onto the gravel, loses the place to Pomialix. Oh, this is all kicking off. Really, really is off this restart. Ghost now going to try and find the move on Rick in towards the Alberto curve. Unfortunately, cannot do so. Pomialix really struggling with that front end, trying to get it turned in. Jackalacco with a commanding inside line gets himself ahead. Ghost on the back. It's the left-hand side of Rick. No DRS just yet, using sheer engine power and relying on that slipstream. Darting to the inside, going for the old Sweeney dummy is Ghost. Is he going to be late enough under brakes? He's going to launch it, lick it, stick it, send it. Not quite enough though. Rick gives him the space. Ghost going to try and set up the double switchback, get that run in towards Curva Grande. It's the outside. He's definitely got a longer way to go, but he's got the speed to soar around the outside. The Alfa Romeo giving an absolutely incredible fight on those mediums. Gets himself ahead, managing to defend. Now Ghost darting left to right, trying to find the space. Not quite going to be able to find the inside as Rick goes over the Soshka, bounces over. Ghost can't find a way through. Jackalacco now side by side with his championship rival in towards the first of the two Lesmos. Gets up the inside, gets ahead, and now Rick goes a little bit wide. Jackalacco going to extend or try and close the gap that was formed in the championship through the second Lesmo. Very, very opportunistic. Ghost follows him through, uses his title rival as just a sort of a vehicle to carve his way through. Ghost having to go defensive. Rick going to force his hand up the inside of Ascari. Bit of contact being made. Locked the rears a little bit. Great racing between these guys though. Shame it wasn't for higher up positions, but still a crucial battle in the grand scheme of things. Jackalacco then leads his championship rival for 6th and 7th. This is constantly leading at the front from MX, Blair, Sumo, Tinos, your top 5. DRS finally enabled. This is going to spice things up a hell of a lot. Tinos going for a spin, in fact. That's going to promote Jackalacco into 5th. Ghost into 6th. As Pommy Alex and Rick are running side by side. Rick once more on the outside to the left. We know he's capable of it. This is also Ghost going up the inside of his championship rival in towards the Rettifido. Soft on soft. Alpine versus Aston. Over the sausage curb. Jackalacco stays ahead for the time being. Rick managing to stay side by side with Pommy Alex for at least a while. But unfortunately couldn't convert the move, but he's in the slipstream. He is closing. Pommy Alex having to go defensive. Is Rick going to find the space? Squeeze that car through. There's a little bit there. Pommy Alex covers it off. A little bit late, but around the outside goes Rick. What a move from the Flying Dutchman. Pommy Alex going to say, no, you don't. Going to get the switcheroo. They're now still going to rerun in side by side in towards the first of the two Lesmos. Rick around the outside. It's the long way round. Pommy Alex squeezing him all the way to the curb. Still side by side. Rick once more later under brakes. Uses that brake, but Pommy Alex gets a bit squirrely off the exit. That's going to invite Rick back up the inside in towards the old bank, and there's contact, and they're in the wall. A huge crash at high speeds. Luckily they're both in this one, but surely the shield's going to take a look at that one. Rick still darts to the inside. Further contact. Pommy Alex darts across the gravel, and furthermore the grass. Both of them are going to have to pit. Arguably, did Pommy Alex come across a little bit too soon there? Did he think he was ahead? That is the question he's going to be asking, and probably the argument he's going to give to the stewards. But it's a race ending collision between the two. Nonetheless, we've still got a championship fight going on our hands. Ghost looking to extend his lead furthermore. Jackalacco trying to claw back some points, going semi-defensive. Here comes Ghost to the inside. How late can he be under brakes? Can the Alpine go for it around the outside? No. He's going to have to concede the corner. Ghost now into 5th. Jacko down to 6th. And what a tight championship fight this has been. Jacko is going to have the slipstream all the way through Curva Grande. There's long right-hander where your foot is absolutely flat to the floor. Is he close enough? No, he's not. There's no DRS until the run to the Ascari chicane. Davila, fastest lap, and P7 as Pommy Alex and Rick feel their way into the pit lane after the two come to blows. Sumo also fighting Blair for that podium place with only a couple of laps left of this race to go. Through the second Lesmo, Ghost using the track on the exit. Jackalacco has got a lot of ERS to use though, 20% more than Ghost. He's got it in the battery. He's got the capability in order to launch this attack. He just needs to stick with him. Make no mistakes. Ghost through the Ascari chicane. Absolutely mighty. Jackalacco slightly mightier. Runs a little bit wide. Hopefully that won't be a warning. Goes a lot off the track in hopes that, well, if you're off the track, you might as well really be off the track. Jacko also practically pushing Ghost through. We've got to divert our attention two ways here. This is Sumo trying to go for the move for the podium. Yellow flags for sector 2. That's Tinos once more. Sumo to the outside. Blitzes his way past the Haas onto the podium. Jacko under pressure from Ghost. They parks it in the middle of the track, so the Alpine's going to go to the left, the long way round, and he's got himself ahead before the corner. Can Ghost launch one to the inside, or is he going to play it sensible with his rival? He's going to play it sensible. Jacko back into P5, 3.5 seconds to the next car. If he can get himself within, well, a further 3/10 on RJ Blair. Actually, no, he is going to get the position. Because, yeah, it's a 5-second penalty for Blair for speeding in the pit lane, isn't it? Jumping over the sausage curb, and again, and he's into the barrier. Is he going to do a similar mistake to Max? And no, keeps the car rolling, but a tremendous amount of time lost for him. As it is that Pommy Alex fighting with Rick, even though both of them have just come out of the pit lane. They've come to blows once in this race. Rick and Pommy Alex still going out at the Aston Martin, looking to the right-hand side on this penultimate lap. But again, Rick staying in front for the time being. Ghost. It's fallen a little bit off the back of Jackalacco, you know, he's not well, Jackalacco just seems to be so much more confident in that car as opposed to Ghost, and at one point in this race it really did seem as if Jackalacco was a write-off and he was going to lose points, but in fact he's clawed back and he's minimising the damage after that first race. Still though, Ghost is in for a chance. Jacko's going to have that benefit of DRS from RJ Blair though, so he's definitely not a write-off. And completely vulnerable from an attack from Ghost. He's definitely now that second car in the train. He's going to be less vulnerable to an attack. As I said, he's even going to go for the move on Blair, put a car between himself and Ghost down the inside of the Rettifido chicane, claims the corner, extends the steering. Ghost trying to go around the outside of the second part of turn 2 as well. Blair gives him the squeeze onto the gravel, finally gives him the space and gives him the position up as well. So good sportsmanship from Blair. But Ghost, that was a very optimistic move. He's lost 1.7 seconds in the process. And now are they going to swap places at Alpine? Is Sumo going to wait up 3 seconds on this final lap just to give Jackalacco that extra point into the final round? Rick at 1:21.326, an extra point going his way. Aces though, a very quiet race, but a very good one. 4 seconds he leads because of those soft tyres. And he's driven absolutely perfectly. I think he is, yeah. Sumo's slowing down. Is Sumo slowing down? 2.1 seconds is the gap. Is he trying to make it subtle? Is that what Sumo's doing? Nonetheless, Aces is going to come through to win the Italian Grand Prix after a very dismal first race. He might come through. Yellow flags. Is that Davila? Oh no! Rick's going to get an extra couple of aces. So too is Pommy Alex. But across the line through the final corner, Aces played the strategy perfectly today. He now crosses the line for Red Bull to win the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. Stellar race from him. MX comes home P2 with Pommy Alex retiring from the session on the final lap. Sumo takes third with Jackalacco in fourth. Jackalacco a mighty final lap with Ghost fifth, and with only 4 points between the two, Bless smashes his way into the wall as he crosses the line. With Rick P7, Davila P8, Tinos P9. Yeah, a very awkward spin for Davila is going to be putting him back. After what was a pretty good drive for him overall tonight. He got that P4 in Imola, but still some decent points tonight. But yeah, that championship next week is going to go down to the wire. I believe it's going to be 4 points between the two. Jackalacco gaining 1 point on Ghost in this race, and Ghost getting 5 on Jackalacco the next time out. That's 2 places Jacko needs to beat Ghost by in each race on average. That's not a lot. That really is not a lot. They are literally equal on pace. Is Ghost going to become the first back-to-back champion? He's already the only double champion. He could then extend that, be the only triple champion, and also the only back-to-back champion. Or will we etch another name into the history books and see Jackalacco have his name placed for the championship win? We will find out in a week's time. But first, the grid order for the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. It was a stellar drive from Aces from third on the grid. Took that first lap and really made the most of those VSCs and that safety car. He wins for Red Bull with MX P2. Double podium for the Alfa Romeo tonight. Stellar stuff indeed, with Sumo for Alpine rounding off the podium. Jackalacco and Ghost 4th and 5th. Could not separate these two at all season long. Have been absolutely equal. Both of them very deserving of this title. We will have 2 races, 1 round to decide the victor. RJ Blair in P6 with Rick in P7, Davila in P8 with Tinos P9. Pommy Alex rounds off the top 10 though, didn't finish. Though still classified. TDB Max in P11 with Mitch P12, both of which DNF in and were not classified because they didn't finish within the last, I think it's 2 laps of the race. That was round 5 of season 5 of the Sprint Championship. It was a very warm welcome back to commentary for myself. It's been a while, and I certainly cannot wait until next week where we see we see Ghost and Jackalacco go at it for the title. Really cannot wait, and I hope you guys at home can't wait either, because, well, once again we have a very close title. It's a common theme in APPF1 to have a close championship, and that theme continues in this season. 5 great seasons so far we've had of sprint racing, and all of them we've had a close title. This time it's Ghost versus Jackalacco. I'll see you in a week's time for that showdown. Bye bye.